Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, pull out those really crucial bits of knowledge, and, well, give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed.
That's the goal.
Today we're diving into something pretty profound, but also really practical. Operational excellence and continuous improvement.
Yeah, big topics.
Big topics. And to kick things off, maybe a question for you listening, something I think we all kind of grapple with. How do you actually know you've done a good job? Like whether you're fixing brakes on a car, planning a family holiday, maybe even just building a brick barbecue in the garden. What are those, say, 3 key things you'd look at to know you've really nailed it?
Yeah, take a second on that.
Just think about it.
That's a great way to start, actually. Because what you're looking for there,
Yeah.
the quality of the repair, how smooth the holiday went, is the barbecue stable.
Mm-hmm.
Those are exactly the kinds of metrics that competitive businesses, especially in manufacturing, are, well, frankly, obsessed with.
Obsessed, right.
Yeah. So this deep dive isn't just about making stuff. It's about making it better, consistently, systematically. We're going to unpack how setting up and acting on improvements is really the heart of achieving that operational excellence.
Absolutely. And our mission here is clear. We want to get past the buzzwords, really understand the solid benefits of continuous improvement, not just what they are, but why they genuinely matter.
Exactly.
We'll dig into reliable ways to measure quality, performance, and crucially, learn how you actually implement real, lasting change.
And we've got some great source material to guide us.
We do. It's aptly titled Your Gateway to Operational Excellence, and it's going to be our guidepost, helping us pull out some pretty surprising facts and some really practical wisdom.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so let's unpack this first bit. Lots of businesses say they measure change or think they do, but maybe don't grasp why it's so vital. Beyond the obvious stuff, what's maybe a less intuitive, even surprising reason why measuring change is just non-negotiable today.
Well, it sounds almost too simple, right? But here's the thing. In today's market, good enough just doesn't cut it anymore. It's often like the fastest way to become obsolete.
Right.
Competitive manufacturing isn't only about making products. It's about this relentless chase for perfection, but with less waste. And the surprising bit, eliminating even one type of waste, say unnecessary rework,
Okay.
doesn't just save you money directly. It often shines a light on hidden problems maybe in your design or your training, which could prevent bigger failures down the road. It's like this continuous digging, uncovering deeper truths about how you actually operate.
That really makes a strong case for the why. Okay, so moving to the how. If a business wants to boost quality, cut waste, where do they even start looking for those first high-impact improvements? Is there, like, a standard starting point, or does it just depend completely on the industry?
That's a really critical question. And while, sure, every industry has its own quirks, our source material and, well, honestly, most operational excellence thinking points to a surprisingly consistent starting line.
Safety.
Safety, really.
Okay.
Yeah, safety, accidents, as the source clearly states, cost money, period.
Mhm.
But it's not just the obvious direct costs, medical bills, compensation.
Mhm.
Think about the ripples. Lost productivity when a line stops.
Right.
The cost of investigating what went wrong. The hit to employee morale, which is huge. Even potential damage to your brand's reputation.
Yeah.
So investing in safety isn't just like the right thing to do ethically. It's a smart financial move. It's a foundational improvement that genuinely pays off across the whole operation.
The source really drives that home safety isn't just box ticking, it's a strategic edge. Beyond those direct cost savings and the ethics, what are some other, maybe less obvious benefits you've seen when a company really prioritizes a safe workplace?
Well, beyond the obvious wins, a strong safety culture tends to create a culture of attention to detail.
Ah, interesting.
If people are meticulous about safety procedures, that mindset often carries over into how they handle product quality, how closely they follow processes, even how much waste they notice and reduce. It also builds trust, right? A sense of being cared for in the workforce.
Oh.
And that can be incredibly powerful for overall productivity.
Which leads us neatly into how we measure all these improvements.
Right.
You can only really measure improvement by counting or testing real things, tangible stuff.
Not just gut feelings.
Exactly. We're talking hard, verifiable data. Fewer accidents, that's a number.
Yeah.
A drop in customer complaints, you can count that. The actual tear strength of a fabric or the precise volume, weight, dimensions of a part. These are all concrete, quantifiable things that tell you if you're actually improving.
Okay, so measuring real things.
Yeah.
That logically takes us to needing ways to quantify what success actually looks like. And that brings in a really fundamental concept, key performance indicators, or KPIs.
Yeah.
So how do KPIs help us move beyond just raw numbers to really understand our progress?
Right, KPIs, a key performance indicator. It's more than just a metric, you see. It's a measurable value that shows how well a company is hitting its key business goals.
The real challenge, though, isn't just tracking KPIs, it's picking the right ones.
Yeah.
So often, businesses kind of get bogged down in what we call lagging indicators.
Lagging indicators. What are those?
They tell you what happened in the past, like customer churn rate. It's important, sure, but it's looking backwards.
Ah.
What you really want are leading indicators. These help predict future performance. So sticking with customers, while churn rate is lagging, maybe customer engagement frequency, how often they interact with you, that could be a much stronger leading indicator for future loyalty.
I see.
It's about finding those signals that let you step in before something goes wrong.
That's a brilliant distinction, leading versus lagging. And speaking of precise measurement, our source mentions how technology is increasingly automating this. SCADA systems, for example. Sounds complex, but how are they changing the game for measurement in manufacturing?
Oh, they're revolutionary, really. SCADA, it stands for System Control and Data Acquisition. Think of it like the central nervous system for a modern production line. It's basically an automated setup using tons of sensors all over the place, constantly feeding data back to computers. But its real power isn't just grabbing data. It's that it constantly monitors tolerance levels.
Tolerance levels.
Yeah, the acceptable range for different measurements.
Yeah.
And crucially, it triggers alarms the second anything goes outside the target range.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So you can intervene immediately, stop defects or problems before they get worse.
Yeah.
It shifts everything from, reacting to problems to actively preventing them. Proactive, not reactive.
So you've got all this amazing, rich, real-time data flooding in from KPIs, from SCADA. But then what? What's the next step? How do the really competitive manufacturers actually connect that flood of information to real, meaningful changes happening on the factory floor?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because data, just for the sake of having data, is
Right.
just noise. The goal, always, is to use it to improve or change specific things. Refining what people actually do in production, boosting the quality of materials or parts, and, critically, slashing all kinds of waste in the process.
Okay.
Every single data point should ideally lead to an action or a decision or maybe a course correction, anything to make things better. It's all about using that information to drive smart actions.
Precisely. Okay, quick recap. We've established that continuous improvement is really the engine for competitive manufacturing. That you measure progress by counting or testing real things.
Tangible things.
Tangible things. KPIs give us those vital, measurable standards, maybe focusing on leading indicators. And systems like SCADA automate the monitoring with incredible precision.
Yep.
So now we get why we measure and what we can measure. Let's pivot to the really crucial next step. How do you actually identify and then implement these vital improvements?
Indeed. This is where the knowledge turns into action. And honestly, it's often the trickiest part. That gap between knowing something's wrong and actually fixing it effectively, that's where a lot of companies stumble.
Makes sense.
So yeah, this second half is all about navigating that challenge.
Okay, so a manufacturer knows they need to get better, improve quality, cut waste, boost efficiency. How do the really competitive ones actually find these opportunities? What's their scouting report, so to speak?
Well, they tend to use a kind of dual approach, which is pretty comprehensive when you look at it. First, there's the really solid data-driven path.
Okay.
That means digging into quality measurements, production numbers, analyzing what competitors are doing, doing research, and of course, using all that detailed info pouring out of SCADA systems. Hard data.
Right.
But just as important, sometimes even more important, is the people-driven approach.
The human element.
Exactly. Actively tapping into ideas from individuals on the floor.
Where?
Running team brainstorming sessions. And, crucially, listening really hard to feedback from customers and suppliers. They often see things you don't.
Okay.
The real magic, happens when you can blend those two, the numbers and the insights from people.
I see. So these measurements aren't just like scorekeeping. They're actually guiding the action plan. They help you see what's really going on. They act as benchmarks over time. They stop you having those knee-jerk reactions to problems you don't fully understand.
Definitely.
And crucially, they get everyone involved in making things better. Our source even mentions methodologies like Kaizen, which for anyone unfamiliar is just Japanese for change for the better, right?
Yeah, good change.
Good change. And structured Kaizen events. These aren't just fancy terms. They're about building a culture where everyone, from the top brass down to the person on the line, feels empowered to spot and make small, continuous improvements.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the thing that ties all this together, that makes sure those small improvements actually stick and build on each other, is the fundamental cycle. The PDCA cycle.
PDCA, plan, do, check, act.
Exactly. It's beautifully simple, but incredibly powerful. A structured way to make changes. First, you plan, figure out exactly what you want to achieve, how long, how much, who's doing it.
Okay.
Then you do.
Yeah.
You actually execute the plan, maybe just on a small scale to test it out.
Right.
Next, you check. This is where you rigorously gather data, what happened, how did it go, compare the results to what you planned.
The measurement bit again.
Absolutely.
Huh?
And finally, you act. Based on what you learned, you either make the successful change standard, update your procedures, tell everyone about it, or if it didn't work, you tweak your plan.
And then you start again.
And then the cycle repeats,
Right.
constantly driving more improvement. The brilliant thing about PDCA is you can use it anywhere. I've seriously seen people apply it to, like, optimizing their kids' bedtime routine.
No way.
Yeah. Plan the steps, do them, check if it worked or if there was a meltdown,
Yeah.
then act by adjusting for the next night. It's just a powerful way of thinking that goes way beyond the factory.
That iterative process sounds incredibly effective and, applicable everywhere. Now, one of the biggest areas where you can make a huge impact, and something our source really focuses on, is tackling waste, right?
Oh, absolutely. Eliminating waste is just central to operational excellence. The source lays out what are commonly called the 7 wastes. Each one is basically a drain on your resources.
Okay, the 7 wastes.
And here's a key thing about them. They hardly ever live alone. They tend to feed off each other. Let's quickly run through them.
Please do.
Okay, first, waste of waiting. Think employees standing around, idle, waiting for parts or equipment, or even just information. Often a sign of bad scheduling or bottlenecks somewhere else.
Got it. Waiting.
Second, waste of overproduction. Making more stuff than you need right now. People think it's a safety net, maybe a buffer, but it often just hides other wastes like defects because you're just making extra CADA to cover up problems instead of fixing them.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Third, waste of inventory.
Yeah.
Too much raw material or work in progress or finished goods just sitting there. Ties up cash, takes up space. Like overproduction, excessive inventory tends to hide problems instead of forcing you to solve them.
Right. Inventory. What's next?
Fourth, waste of motion. Any unnecessary movement by people or equipment within their workspace, like taking extra steps, reaching for things, searching for tools, adds no value.
Wasted motion. Okay.
Fifth, wasted transport.
Yeah.
Similar, but this is unnecessary movement of materials or products between processes or locations. Again, adds 0 value, just cost and risk of damage.
Transport. Got it. 2 left.
Sixth, waste of processing. This is doing more work on a product than the customer actually values or needs. Adding extra features, extra steps, basically work for work's sake, over engineering sometime.
Okay. Waste of processing. And the last one.
Seventh, waste of defects,
Yeah.
probably the most obvious one. Products or services that are just wrong, faulty, need rework. Waste materials, time, effort. Often the most visible waste, but frequently it's just the symptom of other hidden wastes upstream.
Those descriptions are crystal clear, easy to picture each one and, how they connect.
Yeah.
That waste of motion one, I'm picturing some slapstick routine, someone walking back and forth endlessly for one wrench.
Exactly.
But seriously, how often do these seemingly small things just get overlooked? Because, that's just how we've always done it.
All the time.
And the source talks about using expert eyes to look critically at a worksite to spot these things. What does that really mean in practice?
It means you're looking beyond the surface, not just glancing around. You're actively, critically thinking about things like health and safety risks. Are there any obvious hazards? Potential risks to the machinery, the plant itself? What's the general worker attitude like? That can tell you a lot about underlying problems. What's the actual product quality look like, close-up? Are people making unnecessary movements that waste of motion? And what's the real risk of defects being produced right here, right now?
So it's a systematic way of looking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that critical perspective then feeds into something like a mini Kaizen event, which the source describes well. You get a dedicated team, maybe cross-functional,
Right.
They plan their approach, and they walk the floor together with those expert eyes, pinpoint specific areas to focus on, brainstorm practical ideas for change, pick one or two manageable things to start with, and then, this is key, list all the documents that need updating. Procedures, checklists, whatever.
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on, collaborative. It uses the knowledge of the people actually doing the work.
That really makes it concrete. So a Kaizen team, using those expert eyes, would spot really specific, tangible hazards, like the source lists out. Things like machinery without guards, oil spills on the floor, making it slippery, uncovered holes people could trip into, steam shooting out, hot pipes you could burn yourself on.
Yeah, all those physical hazards.
People working without the right PPE, tools or materials stored improperly, creating trip hazards or clutter, maybe unsafe work at heights, chemicals stored wrong, grinding sparks flying near flammable stuff.
Exactly.
Even waste just dropping on the floor, making things messy, or safety signs being wrong or hidden. It's really about noticing those small but potentially significant details.
Precisely. And as those ideas get put into action, as changes are made, there's one final step that's critical but often gets missed: communication and updating procedures.
Ah, the follow-through.
Exactly. Whether it's a change in one specific area, or maybe introducing new KPIs to track how well the change is working, or rolling out new product standards, making sure everyone knows and the official procedures are updated, is absolutely essential to make the improvement stick.
Right.
Without that, things often just drift back to the old way. Old habits die hard, you know.
They certainly do. And just like that, wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into operational excellence.
We have.
We started off understanding why measuring change is so fundamental for competitive manufacturers. We explored the tools, like those leading KPIs and automated SCADA systems tracking everything. Then we shifted into the how. Actively making improvements, using structured methods like Plan, Do, Check, Act, and really digging into identifying and eliminating those sneaky 7 wastes, often through practical, collaborative Kaizen events.
It really connects the dots from theory to practice. And if we just, zoom out for a second, connect this to the bigger picture, these ideas, they really go way beyond just a factory floor.
Sure.
So a final thought, perhaps, for you listening.
Yeah.
How might you apply these principles, this idea of rigorous measurement, of continuous improvement? How could you use that in your own work, or even, personal projects? How could you achieve your own version of operational excellence?
That's a great challenge.
For instance, where might you spot the waste of waiting in your own day-to-day? And what's maybe one small change you could plan, do, check, and act on, starting, well, maybe today?
A powerful thought to end on. A really practical challenge. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you'll keep exploring this fascinating world of improvement with us.